Hey guys, we are live with the one and only Katrina Tecxidor. Did I say it right?
Tecxidor, yes.
All right, all right. So let me exit out of this really fast, get back to us, and make sure that you are on my feed. And you, 1 second, I'm pretty sure it says we're live. So
Yeah,
let's make sure we got it. Do you see it on your end?
I see it on my end, yeah, and I got
Perfect.
your
So we're
tag.
good to go. So let me pull
Yeah.
it up so I can look at the comments. And thank you for being patient with my crazy world of the Zoom to Facebook. And I've been trying to get you on the show for a little bit and had some difficulties on my end. I love the topic of this show, how
Mm.
content creation, how to create sales from it. I think it's really, really timely. It couldn't be any more timely. And if an
Hmm.
old dog like me can learn, then you can teach a lot of people. So enough about me. Welcome, Katrina.
Thank you. Glad to
Very
be here.
excited to have you.
Yeah.
All right, so we all love to hear origin story. So I'd love to hear about you, where you started, how this all came into play, how you became such a creative. I'm sure you always were, but give them a little background.
Right, yeah. So every superhero has an origin story, right?
Love it.
Well, in terms of marketing, how I got involved in that, I was in college and I had a sales background, and I wanted to get into a field where I could do then really delve into, use my skills, and I knew was going to be something that was financially viable. For the majority of my college career, I was putting myself through college. So I had to kind of pick and choose where I worked, partially based on not just skill but income. So I started segueing some of my time to marketing companies, particularly ones that were focused on Google and SEO specifically. They just had that narrow focus there. um, so we started going to conventions and different things to have on-site presence too. So they were kind of focused online, over the phone. They didn't necessarily want to, get out there and engage with their audience, because online companies usually just deal with people, online, and that's how it was traditionally. Now, obviously, things are changing. It's like this weird
We
mix.
got a lot going
Uh,
on, right? But wait, you
yeah.
you mentioned superheroes, so you didn't tell us about you. So tell us a little bit about you. I think you mentioned every superhero has an origin story. I love
Right.
that. So
Right.
tell us a little bit about your journey. You obviously didn't have a cause marketing agency Barbie doll when you were growing up. So
Right.
what did you want to do? What were your passions?
Oh,
Was it creative?
we're going all the way back.
Oh yeah. Well, we
Oh, we're
want to
going
know
all the way
about
back. Okay,
Katrina.
now.
Just a
Right,
little bit
right,
about Katrina.
right. Well, yeah, I was going to tell you about the company's launch at Comic-Con, but we'll get to that later then. Um, well, originally I grew up in Queens, parent of a single mom, mostly raised by my grandparents. Mom was always working, very hardworking lady, very busy lady. So in my free time outside of school, I just read books. I focused on comic books and learning. I was a geek, a nerd of the highest order. um, yeah, so that was a big influence on my life. Those characters in those stories were very important to me, and I wanted to emulate them. They were a source of escapism from my normal everyday life, but they had so much depth to them too. You look at DC Comics and Marvel Comics. They have what, 40, 50 years worth of stories, and especially DC Comics, in my opinion, they've just gotten, the stories have just gotten better and better. And they grew with me too, because they have, more children's kind of focused comics, and then they have stuff that's a little bit more dark and grittier. So that definitely influenced my way of thinking. I knew I always wanted to help people, and that was, kind of the end goal. No matter what it was, I wanted to be, of service to my community and stand for something greater than myself, so to speak.
Love that. I love that. I think it's so cool because you people do take the things that they learn, the things that escapism you said, or the
Yeah.
things that grow into a passion, and they take it with them, even if it doesn't become their career choice. They still take it with them, and I believe that I can see it. I have a friend Ash, and he loves everything anything that has to do with a superhero.
Hmm.
And he's my age, I think. And so but it's still part of him, and he still posts it on his content. He posts
Yeah.
it on his Facebook. You can still see it. You can kind of hear that childhood hero kind of thing in it when he talks about it.
Right. And the great thing too about DC and Marvel specifically, since we're talking about that, is it brings people together. You have obviously the bat symbol, right? Superman symbol. They're one of the two most highly recognized symbols in the entire planet. The entire planet. In general, period. You have your common symbols that everybody knows, like the cross, the Judaic symbol, religious symbols, and then after that, Batman and Superman and things like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, and they're up there. You look at Marvel Avengers Endgame. It's one of if not the highest grossing movie of all time. So it resonates with people in different ways, and for me, I would say that honestly, it changed my life. I don't think if it wasn't for this, I don't think I'd be the same person that you see here today. I was extremely introverted. It was difficult for me to even have conversations, and now I talk to thousands of people a day. So that was the origin story, so to
I love it.
speak.
Let me ask
Originally,
you, tell
oh
me,
yeah.
tell me about, because I think a lot of people, like I was saying earlier, you take the origin story, or you have those things that motivated you, got you thinking differently, changed your life. But a lot of times we don't take that and are able to convert that to a career, a lifelong career of things that you want to do. So
Hmm.
how, what did you, when did you decide, all right, I want to do this as
Hmm.
my career, and talk a little bit about cause marketing agency and how
Right.
you got there?
Right. Well, as I told you, I was, putting my way through college. At that time, I was studying environmental science. I was going to do research my entire life to help endangered species. Then, towards the end of my degree, I got into a car accident, and it changed a lot of things. It affected my mobility. I had to go through a long period of rehabilitation. It caused financial issues, obviously, for a while. There was a lot of just a lot of change, mind and body and everything like that came from that. So part of getting involved in marketing was it was a good opportunity, but it was also something I was able to do because I didn't necessarily have to be as physically active,
Right,
right? And
right.
then the economy kind of took a turn when it came to anything environmental. State, federal jobs is just kind of like nobody's leaving them because it's consistent, and there's really not a lot of new stuff coming in. So it kind of made sense to adapt, career wise, focus more on what was working and what was available to me. And I was excelling significantly with marketing, especially focusing more and more on social media. So fast forward to what we were talking about, these conventions, right? So I was telling those companies I was working for, I said, we have to go to these Comic Cons, we have to meet people. That's gonna make the difference. And I'll show you what social media can do. And if it works for you, I think you should make this a part of your business in the future, long term, for your clients. So we go to MegaCon, which is Orlando's biggest Comic Con. They now moved it to June because of everything going on, but
Yeah.
usually it's like April, May. You know what I mean? And we did viral video prank thing, and it ended up getting 8 million views.
Wow.
So after that, that definitely was a time period where I wasn't used to that much flooding in. I had people constantly, blowing up my inbox, and at that time, that was kind of new for me. And I knew I didn't want to waste that kind of opportunity. I was working with people privately with social media, because the companies I was working for, really, they were kind of stuck in their ways.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people in online marketing, even, and you wouldn't think so, do not necessarily adapt with the times. You would think that online marketing, go with the trends. Not always, right? Some of us, we get comfortable, but I've had to work for everything I've ever gotten. I've never been able to be comfortable, nor do I want to. So I decided, you know what, now is the time to launch my business. And I've had plenty of people that before that, 2 years before that, oh, you own a business, right? You have a social media company, right? So I like to say that it found me, so to speak, and
I love that.
the rest is history. And with our, background in conventions, cause marketing seemed like a great fit. That's me. Cosplay, conventions, fun, excitement. I mean, that's how I live my life.
Tell me about, so I know because my son is big into anything DC or Marvel, and we've got a
Yeah.
question which I'll ask in a minute. But
Yeah.
I think that it's good for you, if you can, to define even what cosplay is, because there's a lot of
Okay.
us, a lot of people don't know. They've heard it, but as with everything, people are embarrassed if they don't know it and they don't want to ask. So tell them a little bit about that.
Hmm. Well, cosplay essentially is dressing as characters and in its fundamental core. Now, that can mean a lot of different things. You can dress as a DC or Marvel hero. You can dress up like a comic book character from, Dark Horse Comics or one of these other, third party ones, or how about from a novel or a TV show. Celebrity impersonators, depending on who you talk to, they may qualify as cosplay. They kind of like, celebrity impersonators kind of, they think about it in their own different way, but essentially portraying someone either real or fictional, right? And you can get as specific with it, right? Like celebrity look-alike, or you can kind of make up your own kind of style from that. And
Fascinating. And it
when I
was
do
funny
my
because,
characters, I do both.
yeah,
I do a
tell
little
me, because
both.
when I went to go pull a headshot for you, like a snapshot, I went through your photos. It's just what we have to do, folks, sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I'm going through your photos, and I pulled Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
and then the person who put together the graphic said, "No, no, I don't want it. We're going to use something else." Now, I would have used Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
because I think that's representative of what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
But I was fascinated by the different characters and the transformation,
Mm.
because what you see here is beautiful. What
Well,
you
thank
see
you.
there is a different kind of beautiful in a different way.
Mm.
So, what happens when you step into cosplay and step into that? Is there a sense? Do you feel differently? Do you act differently?
Mm.
Tell us a little bit about the
Yeah.
interaction when you actually go into character.
Right. Absolutely. I would say it brings something out of me. I mean, that was part of why I started in there. I wanted to get out of my shell and I don't know, like express my fandom. So, like for example, Wonder Woman. Whenever I wear that costume, instantly I feel strong. I feel powerful. When you're wearing, that armor and you have the sword and everything like that, your back just like stands up naturally and you just walk more confidently, and I'm not even realizing it. There's just something about that feeling that you can't express. You just have to experience it. And I mean, I tell everybody, come out to one of those Comic Cons at least once, just
It's
to have that
fascinating to
experience.
go if you haven't been. And let's say you're not even, let's say you're just a fan of the
Yeah.
movies, we'll say.
Yeah.
It's still such a wonderful experience. Everybody seems like they're in a good mood. People are in
Mm-hmm.
character. You see a lot of characters, which is really cool. And I just feel like it's a feel good place to be,
Mm-hmm.
where everybody is out there, and it feels like, from an outsider, a supportive group. And so I think that it's such a cool way for you to express yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Such an amazing way. So how do you help? This is a question before I forget.
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas, hey, what's up, buddy?
Mm-hmm.
Do you specialize in helping people expanding their current brands and promo platforms?
Yeah. So we can start from the ground up, or we can work based on where they're at.
And so if a client comes to you and says, all right, Katrina, because I want to talk about the content creation.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard the term content creation. I pretended to know what it means. I have no idea what I want to do. Can you help me? Where do you take them? What kind of questions do you ask? What are you looking for? Do you have a specific client you take, or is it across the board, anybody who comes to you and wants help?
Well, across the board, we can help. We can help just about anyone. Um, and as far as how it starts with a conversation. Essentially, what are you doing right now in your business? Where do you think that you could be struggling and doing better? What are your goals? In the next 6 months to a year. Just kind of like think about it like you're going to the doctor and they're just kind of going through different questions just to kind of get an idea of if you have a cold or something else going on, like what is the the symptoms pointing to, like what's going on here.
And
And
do you
that's
look at
that's kind of what we
people?
do.
May I ask you, do you look at people? I feel, and Nick's got another, there's a couple questions. What do
Mhm,
you, when you look at people's stuff, social media,
mhm,
I feel like you're way up here. I'm like here, and then most people are way below the screen that you can see. They
mhm,
think they're doing a great job. They think, and then they don't understand why they're not getting the results, like
mhm, mhm,
why their content creation, quote unquote, is not converting to the sales. So, what
mhm,
are some of the things people that you've seen are doing 100% wrong? Maybe a tip
mhm,
they could change right away. That's simple. Remember, people my age, we want simplicity. We depend on
mhm,
Facebook for most of our social media,
mhm.
and yet we use it and we go, "Oh, I've only had 3 likes," or and maybe likes aren't even important. I don't know, but maybe one. Did I lose you?
I'm seeing you kind of cut out, but I can hear you.
Well, it looks sort of looks good on the screen. Maybe did it cut out? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. It's cutting out less now.
Well, let's see what happens. All right, go ahead. Just keep going because we're recording. Yeah, I see it. I see what you're talking about. Who knows what happened? Could be the crazy bedspread behind me. So yeah, I think it's. I think people use social media, and they don't understand why what they're using isn't working.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely very common because it can be difficult, and you have all these different websites. They work on different algorithms, and then if you get used to something that works, let's say that's working well, then they change the way the algorithms work. And if it is working, you want to know why, right? So you could continue to do that. So that's very common. The things that stand out to me when I see profiles that I know are red flags, right? Like end this today kind of thing would be if I see a profile, right, and it just standard stock photo there, with no life to it, or no branding whatsoever. You don't have a logo and a banner there. If somebody goes on that page, they're likely going to bounce off in less than 5 seconds. So
Correct.
that's very important. Your profile is not filled out. If it's the kind of company that has a brick and mortar where you want people to go there, you need to have your location there. You need to make sure that it's connected properly then to maps. So it might not necessarily just even be the social media page. It might be where you're connecting it to. Because if you're connecting it to something that has broken links, or the page doesn't load fast enough, right? Then that has a negative effect, and you have people that might unfollow or that would have potentially followed and said, I don't know, not worth my time.
I
You
think people
got
do
capture
feel
people in
that way.
5 seconds
You
usually.
don't have much time. It's like first impressions, right? Like you
Right.
get that. So talk a little bit about how it's on the content creation side. It's different for each platform because what I see a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
do is share exactly the same thing, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. They're sharing the exact same thing over and over again on the same pages. And yet those pages aren't set up to take that kind of content equally.
Yeah. So and it can be very difficult to basically have different campaigns per page, but in a way it can be beneficial. Facebook and Instagram is going to work on a similar algorithm versus most of your other sites. So if you're talking about LinkedIn, let's say, you have to have your own plan with that. A lot of the content that you're going to use for Facebook and Instagram just will not, land on LinkedIn. But the idea is to have consistency in there. I think that's where people fall short even more. It's how often they're posting. There was a time, maybe even a year ago, where you could get away with not posting every day. Now, if you do that, you're still dropping. You're just dropping less because you're not completely abandoning your content. But most social media sites, and even LinkedIn, being a professional social media page, you got to post every single day.
Every day, right? And then
Every
so
day.
tell people about on the video content. Oh, hey Sal. All right, so let's. I'll get back to my question because I like when the audience asks a question. Sal says, "What would be a key difference between Facebook and LinkedIn
A
from a
key to
content creation?"
For content creation, well, how you're going to build the content, you have to think of your audience first, right? Facebook has a general wider audience, and people and in general shorter attention spans, right? They want to see what they want, you got to hook them quicker. LinkedIn, you have a little bit more wiggle room. However, during the day, what are we doing? If you're on LinkedIn, this is a business professional social media site, you're probably working, right? So maybe you decide to post that content when it's after hours when people are going to see that, but that's a lot more competition,
Right.
right? In that area. So they say knowledge is power, right? Know your competition too, because when you're posting, how often and who's going to be posting in that time frame that has a similar demographic to you is all going to be important. And don't forget about using hashtags. I see a lot of posts that don't have even one hashtag, and whether you like them or not, you got to do it.
I love it. All right, hashtag question. Then I want to ask you my video question.
Yeah.
Hashtags on Facebook.
Yes, they're not. Facebook is not as hashtag driven as Instagram, though. Instagram is going to be critical. Hashtags are super super important. Facebook, yeah, people do take in their content from hashtag searches, or they will follow. There are people who follow particular hashtags and will consistently like content from a page but never will follow it, but they are following it according to what they're thinking, because they're following that hashtag, right? And they know you're going to pop up frequently. So
I love that because I think a lot of people,
important.
there's a whole nother world out there of people who think that hashtags shouldn't be on Facebook. And my
Yeah,
thing is, I usually do it for an attention grabber, which is probably the wrong way. So don't listen to me out there, people. But like but I know that people follow it because I've had people reach out to me, and I'm almost sure the only reason they even knew I existed is because I used that hashtag, and they happen to
absolutely.
follow that. So talk about
Absolutely.
video. I want
Yeah.
to talk about video because I think content creation in this day and age, there has to be in some part of your plan somewhere something to do with video. So
Yeah.
tell me if I'm wrong, and then if I'm either way, explain to them the power of video and why it's important.
Yeah. It's super important, and you know what, I take it back. This might actually be the key point that a lot of our viewers are missing, actually, is the video. Because if you want to beat the algorithms, you add in video content. Why? You're going to get, statistically speaking, double the amount of engagement just in general, right? And if it's the right video, it's an attention grabber, the right call to action, everything else going on, you're looking at 3-4 times the amount of traffic to that post, because people like to see something moving that's going to catch their attention
They do.
quickly. It has more life to it. When we see a flat image, no matter how cool it is, it's less inviting than what we're doing now, talking in real life. We're real life people having a conversation, bringing value to the people out there, and they're bringing value to us, and it's a feedback loop whether we're talking to all of them or not. A flat image, you don't get that. So video is always going to be more powerful. Now, do you do that every single day? not everybody can do that, but it's something that every single person should start thinking about incorporating in their social media
including it,
monthly
right?
basis.
And
Yeah.
I want people like, and tell me your opinion on this. I feel like people feel like it has to be perfect. So I've got to
Mm.
hire the $7,000 videographer, and I've got to have my makeup done. I got to have
Mm.
the right background. Obviously, we know that's not true. We have to, it has to be perfect before I go on, Ted. I can't do video unless I look just like the people on TV. Well, A, B, C,
Mm.
D through Z, you're never going to look like the people on TV. So just go with the flow and be authentically you is
Right.
what I tell people.
Right. Well, you need that good mix of personality, right? And it having that like raw and organic feel, but it's still being, just polished enough. Um, so you can do that in different ways. I mean, we do have video crews available for people if they want their own, on-site shot promo video kind of thing. And we could script it for them and do all that and set up the concepts and ideas. But there's always a way, right? If that's something that's outside of the scope of what you can afford right now, arm yourself with that knowledge, study how to edit video, get yourself a membership to to one of these places where you can learn how to edit things like that. There are apps on your phone where you can do certain things. It's not the same as software or anything that you're going to shoot with a DSLR, professional camera, but it's a start. It's a way to kind of get your feet wet in that regard, and to understand kind of how much work does go into it,
It's
you know.
so much work. Like
Mm,
I have somebody, Darius, with Ignite Videography, who in normal circumstances would be here filming me and you'd be sitting next to me. But the amount of editing, the amount of time that goes into that, it's one
mm,
thing you're doing your quick little, hey, this is me, and you sound out of
yeah,
breath and the camera's rustling. I mean, that's one thing. If you want something done, you do have to kind of have that mix. So it
yeah,
doesn't, I think people also have a perception that it costs millions of dollars,
yeah.
thousands and thousands way
That's a
out of
good
their
point.
budget. And so they avoid video because of it. But that's not
Mm.
necessarily true.
Excuse me. It's not necessarily true. It depends on the company. um there are a lot out there that certainly will charge you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just to show up to talk about a video that you might not even do.
Right.
um we're not one of them, because I believe in earning someone's business, and if I'm going to do that, it's I'm not I'm not going to do that by breaking the bank. Where I think my customers budget is better served, if they're doing a promo video and they're putting a lot into it financially, I want that video to really move and get out there. So I'm thinking, let's create this into, a full promo ad campaign. Let's use this as a traffic generator. But you have your kind of everyday kind of quick clips that you do, and maybe you use a mix of different things that you send the company you're working for, and stock video and stock photos, and that's kind of how you can get that going without breaking the bank. And you do a promo video, once or something else related to that, where somebody shoots on site handful of times a year or every some odd months. You do that and you incorporate that when you can, but you still have the video content on a weekly basis that's, edited through existing content. And you could take something from years ago and still make it new. Our personal stock video library has thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of video, and we guarantee that you're not going to get something recycled unless it's your content and you want us to do that, i.e. end of the year recap, you know what I mean, or here's our appearances at these events, over the summer, things like that, where it's
What's the
relevant.
best way for people to reach out to you?
To me
Because I think
personally.
there's a lot of buzz on here. So I
Oh,
think
thank you.
a lot of great buzz. And I think you really need to check out her page. It's so important to have, if you want to take it to the next level, people, trust me, if this isn't your specialty, you need somebody to help you. You all have life coaches and business coaches. This is
Yeah.
your content creation coach, your marketing coach, for lack of
So
a better word.
well, yeah, and I've done social media coaching. I've coached people one on one how to create their own marketing for for their pages to get them to the point where eventually they can hire a full staff. So and that wasn't something I originally was gonna do, and I had a lot of people ask me about that. Hey, would you teach me? And I just absolutely love it. So we've been doing that for I think the last 10 to 12 months, and it's been a lot of fun. So I mean, with us, it's completely customized to you. I really look at people on an individual basis. So and I could even do a combination of that. I do this for you, and then I teach you how to do that. The idea is, let's get the ball rolling with building that presence. Online brand awareness, building online reputation, those are all things that that take time. It does take a group to do, but we'll help you to get there. As far as reaching out to us, you can contact us directly through our contact form on our website. You can contact me directly by phone. The phone number that you see on the website will ring my phone. You will talk to the owner of this company.
Love
So
it.
that's very important. You can email us, write us on Facebook, on social media, whatever your preference. Everything under @Cos Marketing Agency.
So the one thing before we head out that I want people to also take away from this is one of the reasons why it's so important for people to have engagement like this is,
Mm,
especially when you're talking about content creation, is
mm,
because it can be very intimidating. But when they
mm,
see you talking like a normal human being, it's kind of like the old school computer tech that came in and you were always intimidated by that. People are intimidated by
mm.
social media content creators or anybody who's got the word content creation in their job description. And you can see, everyone, that Katrina is the complete opposite of intimidating. She is accessible and understands and wants to listen. That's the one thing I want people to take away. You're going to listen to what it is that they want to do and try to find a plan for them that works.
Absolutely.
All right. So Katrina Tecxidor with Cos Marketing
Text.
Agency, you have been a joy to have on the show. Guys, if you're looking for content creation, anything to do with social media, just reach out to her. She's obviously going to take your call. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. We love you guys. Thank you so much, Katrina. We'll be back later on today. Have a great one.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Bye bye now.